Relaxation, meditation, quiet moments till we reach elation. Self-care, finding ways to self-heal. My day starts with immediate prayers. Meditation, relaxation, quiet moments till we reach elation. Self-care, finding ways to self-heal. My day starts with immediate prayers.
Yo, what is going on? It's DJ Crowley, and of course, Blue is in the house as well. And man, it has been a while since we have done some conversations / interviews. And what was it? Beach Fly, I think, was the last one. I mean, almost 4 or 5 months ago. It's unheard of. We're happy to be back on the block in the middle of 2025. We're starting this year off right with conscious music, a very special guest, Kuf Knotz and Christine Elise. What's going on?
What's up?
Hey.
So, sometimes I start with, stupid questions like, how did you guys start? And all that kind of stuff. But you guys did something very special. So before we get into the conscious, mystical meat of this chat, let's talk about how it all began for me and Blue personally. Everybody knows about the Sugar Shack. Good friends. We love the Sugar Shack. Shout out Sugar Shack. Higher. One of those songs that literally stops you in your tracks. It stops you in your tracks. You say, wait, okay, hold on. You have my full attention here. And I like to call these kind of tracks, they're very rare, can you feel it tracks. And I've got a playlist, on Spotify. And every time I hear one of those tracks, I add it to that. And when you get feeling in music, that is when you have good art. So tell us about you guys. Just tell us about you guys and what you do.
You go first.
Yeah. So it's kind of on your meaning of love. Both of our missions is to spread love through music and through community. And so it's really serendipitous that we met each other and that we can be on this mission of spreading music. It's kind of like two different worlds colliding and creating this metamorphosis of classical and hip hop and messaging, and we've been rolling with it, seeing where it's going.
And Koof, what do you think? What do you do? What is this?
Yeah, so I'm an MC, I rap, and I do all the production. Christine sings and plays harp, and it's just a mashup of a lot of different influences, a lot of music we both love. We put into what we create, and really, it's just I like to say it's just feel good music. A lot of emotion driven music. Yeah.
Meditation, and then again, that word feeling, so very important in music. If you guys are just tuning in, you're already late. It's okay. We got Kuf Knotz and Christine Elise. Kufi as in the spiritual warrior, Knotz as in the hair, the knots in his hair.
There you go.
Christine with the harp, with all these degrees in musical therapy. So we're going to dig into each of you individually here in a bit, because it is like two pieces of this unbelievable artistic musical pie that you guys have here. But before that, let's talk about that stupid question. Remember? So you guys actually, we're talking about how it all began, ran into each other at a Whole Foods.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, right outside of Philly.
So I've seen some interviews, and in interviews, I'll watch an interview or a conversation, and people do an amazing job. The people that have interviewed did an amazing job. I'm just going to take it deeper with some of the questions that you've gotten before. Give us the story. Give us the feeling in your mind. What was happening, and why did this all? What happened? Tell us a little story about it.
Well, originally, so I was in a band before before we started making music together, and that band performed a show for an organization that Christine worked for. So Christine saw the show that night. We didn't meet that night. And then fast forward maybe 3 months later, I was in Whole Foods and she came up and said, I've seen you perform. I think it was great. If you ever need a harpist, I'm available. And so, I mean, what was going through my head? I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, someone saw the show and really dug the vibe, but then also like harp, like what? I can't, in my head, I couldn't imagine like the sound was. But I was so curious. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see what this sounds like. And so a few weeks later, I contacted her and threw some ideas that I was working on to her, and she like improved over it, and it sounded amazing. So I was like, all right,
So you're
let's
just
see
like
what it's about.
just getting your groceries and you know, like isn't the world wild like that? Like
No, it
I was
really is. It
Rick
really,
Rubin, man, one of my idols. I don't know if you've read his book, uh, and he talks about those moments in life that if something kind of like grabs you, you
yeah.
should like fucking look into it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like if it's something like, I really should act on this. Just like with music, like if you're
Exactly.
writing music, sometimes when we're writing or bands that I've worked with are writing and you don't write it down when you first
Oh,
think of it,
So,
goodbye, gone, peace and love, you
yep,
know,
yep,
you know.
for
So
sure.
is it kind of like that, like do you feel like if you didn't roll into food, Whole Foods that day, do you think
Oh, for sure. I mean, there were a lot of things too that were like I just happened to be there because I was out about a half hour away from there. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a walk. And I really, I had a sweet tooth. I'm like, I really want a vegan donut. So I'm just gonna walk. I'm just
yeah,
gonna walk
baby?
to Whole Foods. And that's not something that I'd normally do or what. So just the fact that I chose to walk there and be there, and she just happened to be there in the parking lot on a phone call
yeah.
that kept her longer so that we met up when she went in there. It just is a lot of small things I think that were like divine timing.
Hmm.
Ooh, Divine Timing. What a great name for a song or a record. I like that.
Yeah.
Divine Timing. Hey, we got some divine timing right now because we have finally, after many, many years, I think it was 2020, Blue, when when I texted you and I said, gotta hear the song. Gotta check these artists out. Higher. We were going through something, personally, going back to that higher track, and you really healed
Mm.
our shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what conscious music it really is, and that's one thing I really really want to dive into. But we're gonna dive into that in dessert in the interview dessert, if you know what I mean. Again, if you're just tuning in, you're late. Kuf Knotz, Christine Elise. If you want to check them out at Kuf Knotz, KUFKNOTZ, and at Christine Elise Harp. All right. So I like this kind of thing we're doing, with interviews, chats. Sometimes we don't know. I don't know kind of I got some ideas for questions, but it's really a vibe. And this
Yeah.
vibe is feeling like kind of like, what do you think about it, Christine? And then what's your, perspective on it, Kuf? So maybe we kind of do that throughout the whole thing. Hey, you said there's no power on earth greater than love. How do we share love?
Mm,
Mm.
man, I I still believe that. No power greater. Um, I think sharing love for everyone is different.
Hmm.
Um, I think the main ingredients in sharing love is kindness, um, and and caring,
Mm.
caring about people. Um, I aim to share love, yeah, through acts of kindness and also through music, through
Mhm.
art. I think that's a powerful way to share love.
Christine, your turn.
I was gonna say through creating, because I think as human beings, like whether it be creating words to say, whether it be creating art, creating architecture, um, one of the reasons I think we're here is to create and uh, specifically create through love, right? That is a much stronger ripple than hate will ever be. And so create.
I love it. And again, it's two slightly different answers, but both of them are actually absolutely correct. You've got the correct answers. But guys, I got to dive into each of you really deep now here. We're going to start with you, Christine, because like we're saying, two completely not separate human beings, because you've come together for some powerful reason, and we know why you're together, but two completely different backgrounds that have come together to create this duo, this conscious mystical art project. Christine, you have a master's in musical therapy. Uh, wow, that's insane, man. Um, I would love for you to first talk about music therapy, and what it really entails, because a lot of people think like music therapy is a way to use music to um, fix non-musical things, which I think is very true, but there's another side of it too, I think. Tell us about your master's in musical therapy. How cool is that? I mean, I don't know an artist that's like, yeah, have a master's in musical therapy. That's love, baby. That's it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so music therapy, I mean, you got the basic definition right there is using music to meet non-musical goals, but there's just something deep about music. And it's kind of like if you imagine a lot of people, if they have to run or exercise, having music on versus not having music on, that mile could seem like forever. Um, so music really just has the ability to take us somewhere else and bring us together and kind of make time not even there. Um, and so I studied those connections and how to use creative arts and music to bring people together and what it has the power to do, help people increase uh, a BPM of music to help somebody walk at a faster pace to
Uh,
increase physical mobility. Um, After stroke, relearning neural pathways through singing to learn how to speak again. So music just in all mediums has so many different avenues that it can help people have a better quality of life.
what like made you say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this"? Like, what was the thing?
So I studied piano since I was 7. So I always had a love for music. And I went through a little of a crazy time during when I was like 15. I had a mental breakdown. And um, as I went through it and worked through it, I actually was able to have my harp during that time. So music was really one of the pieces that got me through that time. And my piano teacher when I was time to, think about what I was going to do for my life, she was like, there's something that combines both those worlds. There's a thing called music therapy. And I was like, what?
Mm.
Well, I can, learn about people and how people navigate the world and also use music to do that. And it was very foreign to me at the time, but I was like, sign me up.
Yeah.
And from then on, I never looked back. I just knew it was my passion.
How cool is that? And also, while we're on the subject, you know, you have the project Higher Grounds, music therapy, and how you give back to your community. We define music therapy already. I want to dive into this project a little bit more. uh you know it's so cool what you guys are doing, giving back, which is such an important part of being an artist and having a platform, is being able to give back, not just monetarily but mentally, physically, well-being, anything, your mind, your spirit, your body, your soul. And you guys are doing that, and that's really cool. So let's talk about this is it Higher Grounds?
Yep.
Mhm.
Music therapy, correct?
Higher
Sounds
grounds,
music.
music. Yeah. And that was like really that was something that came about from us kind of wanting to marry the two ideas of the live performance aspect, but then also with some type of community outreach. So under Higher Grounds Music, that's where we go into schools, community centers, libraries, yoga studios, wherever it may be, and just offer our services. It's a good way to get in the community with people and, learn a little bit about the places we're going, and then also offer our music, and that looks different in each place. Like sometimes we might just do no vocals and just have almost like a sound healing session,
Mm.
um, where it's just beats and harp. And sometimes it might just be something acoustic with just the harp, and then other times it's a party vibe.
And other times we're getting down, baby. That's how it goes. I mean, I thank you all so much for doing this kind of stuff for the world. And this whole theme of conscious music, that we really, we work in reggae world and anything that grooves,
Yep, yep,
and conscious music is not only in each one of those genres, but is a deep down major player in those genres, you
yeah,
know.
for
So
sure.
how cool. Again, this is highergroundsmusic.com, correct?
Yep,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah, man. How cool is that? So let's swing on back. Christine, it's time to talk about this thing they call the harp. So we are huge fans of instruments that are worldly, that are underrated, that are not played in live music, modern live music as much, and it's instruments that people need to know more about.
Yeah.
So I think Christine is probably the one to tell us more about the harp, and let's dig into it. Tell us about it.
If you could think of one instrument that you think is closest to the harp, what would it be?
The piano.
Yeah, ding ding. You
Yeah.
got
Oh, correct.
yes.
Correct. See, we have correct answers. It's this thing right here, man. But yeah, no, no. I mean, it is because, instead of going from left to right on every single note, I'm guessing it's going from your mouth to the people.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
What are
Uh,
those little red strings? Are those octaves?
Okay, yeah. So every harp, whether it be a orchestra harp, a pedal harp, big or small, they typically always have red strings and blue or black strings. And that's because you're constantly, if your harp is on your shoulder, you're using your peripheral vision to see. And if it was all clear, then you would just see right through it. Your eye has no like pattern to catch. Just like on the piano, your eye catches black notes to help you like map where you are. So all the C's are red and all the blue or black strings are F's.
Hmm. That is, I've been seeing the, I've been looking at like harps. We actually had somebody hit us up. Side note, Facebook Marketplace and all this BS. Everybody out there, be careful. There's so many scams. There are so many scams. Somebody said we have this beautiful harp that my late husband, he passed away. I just want to get rid of. We need to give it a good home. Ended up being a effing scam, man.
Oh,
Go to hell.
that's
Like
that's crazy.
yeah, like a $20,000 harp, like really like ridiculous. And so that didn't happen. But we've always been interested in it. And honestly, Blue, I mean, I think it's just Christine and Kuf when it comes to harp players that we know of. But you know, it's got oh, your grandmother played. Oh, well,
Oh,
there's
wow.
family. Okay. As I told you, he should have done the interview. He would have been like, oh. No, but let's dig deeper into the harp. So that's kind of the theory based on it. Uh, what made you pick it, and what's your favorite thing about it? Because it's
Mhm.
so like almost like spiritual
Mhm.
instrument, almost, I think.
Mhm.
Mhm.
For sure.
Yeah. So when I was in middle school, I would accompany the choir, and my middle school teacher said, "You should take up the harp." And I said, "The harp? Can you even buy that? You can buy those?" And so she said, "Yeah, that's why you should, take it up because not many people play it." So I took her up on it and I did start and I reserved it for like creative expression and vigorously practiced piano as my main instrument. But I was able to really explore on the harp and that's why I also kind of am able to play in a more jazz improvisational way. I think because I've taken the technique and not really put myself in a box. Um, and but one of my favorite things about it is that the soundboard is literally like lying on you.
Ooh.
So you are part of it. Like you're literally like hugging it and playing. And therefore, like you're talking about today's topic of being love, like it's really your heart's center. Like you're really uh becoming the sound that you're emanating. And I never really have seen many instruments where your whole body is really like engulfed in it.
Right, right, right. Okay, we're digging deeper. I love it. I love it. So the harp is the heart. It's close.
Mm.
It's just it's incredible, man. So for real quick, for anybody out there who is interested in picking up a harp for the first time, I know they can be uh, unbelievably, extraordinarily expensive, but there are more cost acceptable options. If somebody's really like, hey, I want to play the harp, what would you recommend the process for them?
Yeah, there's a couple, I know around our area, there's a place called Virginia Harp Center. And they have an awesome showroom where you can call them and ask, and someone will kind of show you all of the harps in there. And what's cool about there is that they sell a lot of used harps, and oftentimes people come through with different ones, so they have quite a bit of them. There's another place in New York City, so even though it's rare, there are places, and most harp people are very excited and animated to tell you about them. So it's kind of also one of those old school things, like to get strings where I have to get, you have to call them. They send you the string, and then you have to mail them a check after you send them the string. So,
Oh,
so it's like, um, pick up the phone and give somebody a call that has a harp shop, and I'm sure they would talk you through the process, even at a beginning level.
yeah, Blue, that might have to be maybe our next move, like a mini harp. So, okay, so we have I have a travel size traditional Indian sitar.
Right.
We have we just got a pipa. It's a traditional Chinese lute. What a beautiful instrument that is. I've got like 16 ukuleles. That's kind of how I do the thing. Oh yeah, yeah, Blue just got I just got Blue a Nord, a 1997, the original Nord. The one
Oh,
with the actual plug, like there's no power cable. You just plug it into the wall.
Oh, wow.
How crazy is that, right? We got to put like special tape around that. And yeah, I mean, we got bass, we got all the OGs, a couple great acoustic guitars and Bang Box. I love shout out to Joe at Bang Box for hooking us up with a Bang Box up in New Jersey. We love you, Joe. Bang Box, baby. Um, but yeah, maybe a harp would be the next one. That could be kind of cool. We've always thought about that, and I think it's just so important to talk about instruments that need to be talked about more because they're so important and beautiful.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And the harp is one of them. So, Christine, thank you for telling us about the harp. We really appreciate that. It's something you don't see a lot, and I hope everybody out there, like if you're thinking harp,
Do it.
get you a harp, Ding 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 ding. All right, Kuf, we're moving on. If you're just tuning in, once again, you are late, but that's all right. We got Kuf Knotz and Christine Elise in the house, the dynamic duo that no one would ever think that would come together, but they have, and we are so glad they have. Um, Kuf, you are up, the spiritual warrior, Kufi, man. Your instrument is your voice, correct?
True, very true.
Yeah. Let's talk about your voice and specifically your lyrical storytelling. Like in hip hop, like, there's a story to be told for sure, you know?
Yep.
And a lot of people, every artist, will say it differently. Sometimes it's poetry in motion, sometimes it's spoken word, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. With you, one thing I've noticed is you tell this story that takes you there immediately, and,
Mm.
and not necessarily like takes you to a place in your mind where you've been, but exactly to your place. And then at the end, you can relate. But you tell very, very, very unique, detailed, powerful stories. Let's talk about your instrument. Let's talk about Kuf for a second.
Wow. That was beautiful. Thank you.
I mean it.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I guess yeah, I just write from experience, and I think the way I choose to write and express it has been from influence from different music I listened to growing up. I always was into like storytelling, whether it be an MC or a singer or a poet. Um, it's all, storytelling. And so, yeah, that's my aim to relay a story or something I might have went through or someone I've known has went through, and in hopes that other people can relate and yeah,
Do
that's
you have
pretty.
do you have like a sorry to interrupt you. Do you have a verse or a lyric or a bar or something that you've written that like is like, damn, that is it, man. You know what I mean? Like, do you have something like that? Like, I don't have to be the whole
I
damn
feel
song,
I,
but you know,
I feel like on this new album we have that we're working on right now,
perfect segue.
I think there's a few of those. Yeah, like I think they're all heartfelt, but ones that are really close to heart because of over the past few months losing a lot of people that were
Mm.
close.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's part of life. But yeah, I think that had a big effect on these new batch of songs we're doing.
Okay. What a perfect segue. But first of all, let's take a moment of silence for the people that you've lost and people that everybody's lost this
Yeah,
year.
for sure,
Just 5 seconds here.
for sure.
All right. We're spreading love here. We got Kuf Knotz and Christina Elise in the
Ready,
house. We've got
ready.
them. We're rolling. We're rocking. I hope you guys are enjoying as much as we are, man. Uh, Conscious musicians are like our cup of tea, man. That's how we roll. You're our people. That's how we live, and we're just so happy to be chatting with you. So perfect segue. Music. Let's talk about it. How I mean, that was a really good segue, honestly, because we were literally going into so. Let's
Perfect.
plug up some new stuff. First, let's talk about some. Let me jump on my Spotify. One thing I've noticed with you guys, um, and I usually don't say that much. I think I thought I've gotten off that word after 17 years or 15 years of doing this now. Yeah, but anyway, number one, I love all of the names of your records. How cool! Boombox Logic, a positive light. Who doesn't want a positive light? Now this one, K Mio Onende,
Yep. Community.
beautiful. Okay.
It's that
Uh,
whole album's in phonetics.
no way. That's the one we haven't checked out. We're gonna have to check that one out.
Yep.
Hypnagogia. Word. Like, love that. This new one, man, the new single, Energy, but not INNER,
Yep.
you know, but it's the inner G, baby. You know what I mean? So, like, let's talk about your music and your studio stuff. First in the past, and then what's coming up. Just a broad kind of feeling of it.
Cool. Yeah, so I guess we put out our first album in 2018,
Yep.
and that was called Higher Grounds, actually. That's the only one that's not on Spotify yet. Yeah, and then we went from that to Community.
Yep.
Community that was done during the pandemic when everyone was like confined to their homes. And so we just had a lot of people sending files and stuff, and we put that album together. And it was called Community because we did the album with so many different people at a time where everyone was separated
Mm.
in their own houses. So, and then from there we did
Yep.
Hypnagogia. And that was the first album where we did all the production.
Hmm.
That
Mm.
one, and this new one, Grow, it's coming out. We did all the production on. So that was like Hypnagogia was the start of us kind of creating and doing everything just us two.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And now we're putting out Grow March 7th.
March 7th. So this is a full length
Mhm.
record, or is this an LP or EP? All right, what are we looking at?
Full length. I think it's like 15 songs. We're still
Yeah.
old school with the long album.
Right. We're growing, baby. We're loving it. And then we're look like, and under here I have grow. No, no. But no, no, that's sick, man. The community we haven't listened to yet. And sorry everybody that I butchered that one.
I know.
That was rough. But I like what you do with it. Again, it's conscious, man. Your artwork is beautiful too. And speaking of the production, man, that's awesome that you're diving into production because so many artists, especially ones that are coming up, the younger kids too, are realizing that not only do they have to create a whole social media proposal platform and negotiate it and make sure it's engaging all the people when it and then it doesn't, of course. But that shouldn't be a musician's job. It really shouldn't. But anyway, production is another part that people are really digging into. What brought you to the point where like, hey, I want to start, getting into Ableton or Logic or Pro
Yeah,
Tools and start rocking and doing it.
I think it's something I've always wanted to do and didn't ever really sit down and take the time to do it because I was always working with different producers and I loved how everyone else's production sounded. But then during the time 2020 to 2022, when you couldn't really go out and do much. And we had finished the community album. I really had time to just sit down and dive into production and work on it every day. And so that was like one of the positive things that came out of that time period.
And bringing you all together even closer,
Yeah, no, for sure.
right? Which is so,
Yep,
so important to
yep.
be holistically knowledgeable in this business is probably one of the most important things behind making sure you love the people you make music with.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, but that it's interesting that we go back to okay, so we call it the jam demic because nobody could play any music. I was tour manager for Elevators. We were on a
Mhm.
tour with Pepper out March 2020, getting done with that in Sacramento. And we get a phone call from our manager the next day, said, "Hey, you're sold out in Phoenix, but the whole world is actually shutting down. You guys are first dropping, of course, our lead singer off at the Phoenix International Airport so he can fly home to Boston. Love you, Jackson. Uh, and then we get to drive the bus home." I always say that just to give him shit. But anyway, uh, you know, it was a wild time, and there were so many horrible things about it, but I do think it was a blessing in disguise. I really, really do. Obviously, just so many tragedies and losses and chaos, and we all love those masks, of course not. But when you look deep into it, just like you were saying, like, hey, I got into production,
Yeah,
and it's something I was wanting to do. I actually met my life partner forever, Blue, because of the pandemic, jamdemic, and I also finally got to work on my actual musical project, The Islands, after all these years of wanting to do it, but you know I'm like, I'm around these superstar musicians. I'm not that good. I can't do that. And then I found I could, man, and that was really cool.
that's
So,
beautiful
when there's dark, there's light,
for
like
sure.
somewhere. You kind of like you gotta let it kind of find you because that light will always come out behind the cloud. It
Sure,
will,
sure.
no matter what's happening. So
Yeah.
yeah. That's interesting that we kind of go back to Jamdemic because we swore we were not going to talk about. Remember how many interviews? Like we started doing interviews, guys. Like I'm not kidding. It was like, so let's talk about the Jamdemic and the pandemic. So what were you guys doing?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
guys kind of brought it up, which is cool. That means it's still like even the nastiest stuff, man. The nastiest stuff has the really coolest toppings sometimes.
Very
So
true.
cool. So again, we got I know we got off topic, but Grow, man, March 7th, is that correct?
March 7th. Yep.
Yeah.
Gonna have some magic in it. Just give us a little bit of, if you can, a little deeper of what we're gonna feel. Now, Kuf, I know you were talking about there's some really, really deep power, like, heartfelt, maybe
Hmm.
difficult uh, art that you've written vocally for that one. Christine, where are you at with it?
Yeah. There's some cool harp solos on there.
Hmm.
Right.
That
Okay, cool.
I think this is I would say this is the most harp
Yep.
on all the
Yeah.
albums.
Yep.
Yeah, Cascade, which is a single that's out already. That
Awesome.
almost all kind of an instrumental of harp.
Hmm.
There is some vocals, but it's featuring the harp more.
Hmm.
Um, and there was a few songs that I sang
Hmm.
the verses on, which is kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. Um,
That's
some pros
cool.
here.
That's again, learning different things in this business. It is so important to be holistically knowledgeable and always like create. You always want to create. So how do you
Sure.
create? You learn how to do this next craft. How
Yep.
cool is that? So you got some verses too, huh? Koof,
Yeah.
are you like flipping? Like, are you going to more chorus and hooks when she's doing these verses, or how's that going?
Yeah, well, I'm having fun like just creating the pad, just creating the beat and the music around it. Because I love Christine's voice and
Yes.
and some of the melodies and rhythmic patterns she chooses, especially on a lot of this new stuff. She really dove pretty deep into that and focused on that. So yeah, I'm like having fun just creating the pad for that. And then if I feel called to put something on it, I'll add something. But yeah, I'm just enjoying seeing her grow on these tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's one thing we actually didn't bring up. Christine, your voice is spectacular. It is spectacular. It's almost like a modern age flower power, not mix of Janice and who am I thinking of from Jefferson Airplane? I don't know. Just I get this flower power raspy,
Yeah.
yet very in tune and very very talented and powerful
Yeah.
vocals. I mean, as soon as we heard higher, man, again we were hooked by both of you. And it's crazy how little things like that can happen, right?
It
Mhm.
is.
All right, we're gonna get you guys out of here in a second. I promise. It's been really fun kicking it with you
Likewise,
guys. We got
doing
it.
it.
We got to link up. I know you guys. Let's plug some shows real quick. You guys are on tour right now, and then we'll talk about the live show. Tell us what you got coming up.
Yeah. Um, I guess we start in Philly tomorrow. And then we head out to North Carolina, doing Asheville,
Raleigh,
Raleigh, Charlotte.
Charlotte, yeah.
Yeah. And then where we head after that?
We'll be in Arizona, which
Yeah.
this will be our
Right.
first time heading out to Arizona. So,
Oh, we're in Arizona,
Tucson?
hmm
Tucson.
Tucson. Where's Amelia live? Blue Bisbee.
Is
Yeah, check out Bisbee. Amazing singer-songwriter who used to live in Asheville, is located or relocated out to Bisbee, Arizona. There's all kinds of family out there. Arizona's popping, man, and the reason being is because California is so unbelievably expensive in areas that
uh,
the kids, especially the heady ones, are moving to different places. When we're on tour. Last Exit in Phoenix, when we played there years ago.
oh yeah.
I asked them about like we had a full house. Like, how is this? Like, it's 113 degrees outside, and it's Phoenix, Arizona. What's this all about? And they're like, oh no, we're heady here. Like,
Right.
we roll hard, we roll deep. We have conscious, it's a conscious group of kids, and not just kids, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't call them fans. I call them family. It's family.
Yep. Yep. Good.
So yeah, you'll enjoy Arizona for sure. And so
What was that?
far, it's cool too, man. Really cool that you guys do so far. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Oh, what was the artist name in Bisbee?
Amelia Dahl.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, and your boy Blue over there is producing her music and
Oh,
doing music
nice.
with her. Yeah, yeah. We'll exchange numbers after this. We need to be a little bit closer probably after this, and we'll
Sure.
throw
Sure.
vibes at each other. We'll talk about. I can tell you some other artists out there that are great. There's the Irie Vibes radio show, which is absolutely fantastic. Our buddy out there does that, and that's a good radio platform to hit. And then there's a couple other bands that I've been really digging lately, but we can dig into that later on
Oh,
at
yeah.
another point in time. So you guys are on tour, everything's rocking and rolling. You're doing So Far, which is I just wanted to touch on So Far. It's such a dope thing, man. I love So Far. I love what they do all around the country and the world. If I'm not mistaken, is that a world organization?
It is for
So Far
sure.
Sounds, yeah, yeah. How cool is that? And bringing that intimate feeling, and that's you guys, man, right there for a So Far sesh. I don't know if you've heard of Emily Sheila. She was on the Sugar Shack as well, and we've gotten to be very good friends with her. And she does all kinds of So Fars all
Yep.
over the country. Another amazing artist. And Asheville, I think they're playing Asheville like literally in 3 or 4 days on the 22nd. We may try to get out there. The Hurricane Helene, the tragedy out there, man.
Yeah, for real.
Please, they need
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
they need that really
For
bad. And you guys are, I think, a good
sure.
recipe for that for them at Highland Brewing in Asheville on February the 22nd. Great, great, great place, Asheville, North Carolina. We love everybody so much out there. And
Yeah.
to everybody that's hurting and struggling, we are here for you. We love you, especially Salvage Station, all the homies out there. That Salvage Station lost everything, man. Everything,
Yeah.
everything gone, gone. It's amazing what life.
Mm.
So it'd be interesting when you guys get there. Maybe you can see can bring some. I bet you'll bring some really wonderful light to some wonderful people out there that need it. So
Sure.
yeah, let's talk about your live show real quick. It's compared to your studio. Uh, are you guys rolling with a band, full band?
No,
Are
it's
you doing duo right now?
it's just duo. Sometimes some shows we have a guitarist sit in. Sometimes we have harmonica, sometimes horn, but mainly it's Christine and I. And I'll be doing the beats on stage and rhyming, and she's doing the harp and vocals live. Yeah, it's morphed a lot from when we first started.
Hmm.
It's a very high energy, dance friendly show now, where originally it was a little more mellow and
Yeah.
Yeah.
laid back.
Now
Do
we
you?
need um,
Yeah. I mean, do you still? I'm sure you still incorporate, the meditation.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep, for
And
sure.
yeah, that's it's so important. Don't ever lose that.
Sure,
It's always good to get down, but it's even better to go up in a conscious manner. Like it's so important for that.
sure.
So, yeah, we got to go check you guys out. We will. If we don't get to Asheville, I know you guys will be floating around the country doing your thing, spreading love everywhere. So
For sure.
we got Grow. So March 7th, we're gonna plug some things. March 7th, the new record Grow is out. Really stoked about this, and especially on based on what Christine and Kuf were talking about. If you missed it, rewind, rewind,
Rewind.
rewind. If you're on YouTube, rewind. If you're not, you're late. No, I'm just kidding. That's our thing. We say we're late. You're late all the time. Most artists love it. I've had actually two artists. They're like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" most people are down. We have talked about the new record. We talked about the music. You're on tour. Don't forget, everybody. We have their project, their Give Back to the World project, highergroundsmusic.com. For more info on that, at Kuf Knotz, and at Christine Elise Harp, on all the socials. Guys, let's talk about the mind. uh, the dessert, I guess, has entered the equation. I want to talk about the mind and consciousness. Do you consider yourself conscious musicians? Is that kind of a conscious purveyor of
Uh,
art?
yeah, definitely. It's not, I think like when people ask us what our music is, we usually say like hip hop, soul, new age. But it's all under the moniker of conscious music. There's nothing else I could think to label it under
Yeah.
other than conscious.
S- So, what is conscious music? What is it?
So for me, I think conscious music is music that is very heartfelt
Mhm.
and addressing worldly issues, social issues,
Mhm.
a big focus on love and solution. Yeah, and I think conscious music also is as much as I think artists want to be popular and have a pop hit song because that's where you get the most audience. I don't think conscious music is solely driven the same way as a lot of pop music is.
Correct. It's a different thing, man. You do it for a different thing. There's doing this for money, and there's doing this for that, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
passion and love, you
Mhm.
know?
Sure.
Christine, what is conscious music?
Yeah, I think it is also like a way of living, and there's a lot of intention within it.
Mhm.
I think about it also in like uh everything, like even what I wear, which has become kind of also conscious. Uh, and I think that really just authentic in a movement to appreciate each other is really where it comes, looking out for each other. That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
it. It seems like such an easy concept, um, but some people are still learning about it, and so I think that we're just part of the process of spreading that intention.
What a wonderful two answers to that question. We have always been, from Dub Conscious back in the day, the first band that ever said, "Hey, you're our friend." Probably one of the conscious music, which is obviously their music as well, is one of the reasons why I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing today as well,
Beautiful.
as Blue, and I truly respect it because it makes you feel. It
Mhm.
makes you feel. If all music can make you feel, but this shit makes you feel. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I do, 100%.
You can
100%.
it's in you. Like
Yeah.
it's an extraterrestrial sensory thing that happens.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
can get into aliens all day with this whole conscious the idea of consciousness and how they're rocking and rolling, but we're not going to do that on this one because I know you guys definitely got to run. But we do have an alien. Hello. Yeah, baby. That's what's up. Guys, it's been like really, really powerful. And today's conversation was brought to you by Love.
Love.
And don't forget to grow March 7th. That's right. Kuf and Christine have another brand new record coming out. before we get into blues last two, these are just little ones, just little funny kind of thing, almost little funny things. A couple of them. If you guys named your band something other than the duo of Kuf Knotz and Christine Elise, what would it be?
That is an amazing question. Wow.
I don't know what it would be.
I don't know. I have no idea. That's funny. That's not anything I've ever thought of.
Uh-huh.
That's
I'm wild like that. So the reason I said that is because I think you guys should create a really cool, like wild, conscious, both of you together name that
yeah.
will just blow people out of the water immediately.
People have said that.
Hmm.
Curious why we don't. Yeah, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a really powerful name.
Oh, it's got to be like it. It's got to be it. Band names like this is it. It's it. If it's not,
Yeah, yeah.
next up, we're not doing that. And it's so tricky nowadays because with again, let's go back to our good friend social media. You can't get your band name necessarily anymore, or people
Mhm.
have these band names and they have them, you know, not necessarily an LLC or copyright to that level, but people can take it on Instagram, you know what I mean? And without being caring about making music or anything like that. So everybody out there doing that, stop, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured you may not have an answer to that, and I wanted to stick that into your universe. That's
Indeed.
kind of why I did it. Blue had a couple fantastic questions, and then this is it. We're done. Okay, let's talk about. Okay, so I'm sure you guys have had some crazy experiences with people that have been at your shows or been affected in such incredible ways by your art. Can you name one of those that just really just blows you away to this day? Like, wow, our art did that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can think of one recently. Um, we were doing a yoga class in Jacksonville, and we were playing during the end of the yoga class, so I was playing mainly harp, and
Mm,
Kuf had like
mm,
a pretty like lo-fi kind of drone beat going.
Yeah.
And this is after us playing beats and harp for a solid hour. So, and someone had been moving. So you're really kind of like in deep to the experience. And right after we finished, a woman came up to me and just started weeping and saying that she saw her father and she hadn't really um, had much communication with her father and was really longing for that. And it was like it came upon her just randomly. Like it wasn't like she was trying hard. It just something about the melody that was playing in the moment and the space that she was at. She just got flooded with these memories, and she didn't say too much more than that, but she just hugged me and she like just kind of cried in my arms and said like thank you for that experience.
That's what you guys are doing, man. You know,
beautiful.
how cool is that, right? Kofi got one?
I think the ones that really stick out for me happen when someone will say that they really connected to and related to the song Spirit Walk
Mm,
when we do it live. It's about those people that we lost and but are still with us and guiding us spiritually. So there's been a number of shows where people have said they've recently lost someone and they really connected to that song and appreciated it. So whenever something like that happens, that's always like, a special moment and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ziggy Marley told me something many, many years ago, and I'll never forget it. He said, "All music is music. No music is not music." But you know, that opened my mind up to say, okay, if somebody loves, uh, Taylor Swift, and that makes their day go by, and what she says in that music
Yeah.
helps them through their day, then that's music.
Yep.
What you guys are doing is conscious music. A little bit different. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Last question. It's been a pleasure, guys. Again, Grow, March 7th. It's happening. It's happening March 7th. It's going to be
March
a
7th.
banger. They're on tour. They're on tour. They're doing the harp. They're telling you stories. They are making lo-fi beats, and we love some lo-fi. If you don't like lo-fi, bye-bye. Next YouTube channel, please, or radio station, because we love some lo-fi. Shout out TV Corporation. Shout out all the homies. What do you believe is the most mystical or unexplained aspect of music?
There's definitely a feeling I get from music that's unlike any other feeling I've ever experienced. It's super powerful, emotional, and is able to, I think, transform the person I am, my mind state in that moment, and just has like an invisible pull or hold on me when I'm experiencing that.
Ding, 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 baby. That's it. That's it. Oh, wow. Christine, what do you think?
Like music is mystical. Like that's
Yeah.
is I feel like I've struggled using my words a lot of my life, just trying to convey things I want to say, but I never have a hard time explaining playing piano and improvising. And so, sometimes words can be limiting and create a label that then there's a definition and then associations. And music, the mystic about music is, you can kind of break through all of that and get right to like what Kuf was saying, the emotion without having those extra layers.
And with that, we're done. Everybody spread love. Please spread love and light. Love and light. Light's important too, because if you don't have the light, then the love may not work. I don't know. It probably would, but yeah. Sorry I kept you guys so long. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you all. Man, I it's been probably about 5 years, I guess. Yeah, 4 or 5 years. Ever since we heard Higher, we were like, we're hooked, man. Rock and roll. We got to talk to these cats one day. So I hope you guys had a blast. We
Yeah, we
had.
did. We
did.
appreciate you sharing the platform with us.
Absolutely, and we'll keep spreading all the love and all the consciousness and all the feels, and we'll keep growing. And forward is the motion, correct? Right? I think that's right. Right?
Okay, yes, yes. I know that I'm blessed, but that don't mean I don't feel pain. Some days of stress, laughing often, it's better than the tears, I guess. But I don't know, I'm just a student that's eager to grow. So every day becomes a lesson, learning new direction, new perspective, clear the mind when life gets hectic. Finding ways to ease the brain is where my pen hit. The paper sketch letters over sounds that's well mixed. A pot of gold, though the road gets so cold. Held my father in my arms as his soul returned home, and saw my brother in the casket, couldn't mask it. I broke down right in the church in raw fashion, hugging my mother while she said goodbye to her firstborn. Damn, her heart was torn, but time keeps moving, so we finding a way. Let the future bring healing, for strength we pray.